All right. So my name's Reggie, and I am I'm a car guy, and I'm a entrepreneur, and I've combined all of those together, or both of those things together, and I'm an auto repair shop owner. And today I want to talk about 10 reasons you should consider being an automotive technician. So this is for those that are looking for maybe a career or looking to change careers. I think if you are already an automotive technician, it might be interesting. Of course, I'd love your feedback as far as whether you like or dislike this. I am going to do another video that is 10 reasons not to be an automotive technician, because I think it's great to look at both sides of that. But being a shop owner that was a technician, I think is my context. Now, before I get into that, I will say have only been a technician in my own shop. I'm the guy that started as one person and did all the things, wore all the hats, and my perspective is based on that. I haven't worked in a dealership. I haven't worked in another independent shop. So take that, put that filter on there just so you kind of understand where I'm coming from. What I do know is that as an auto repair shop owner, finding you guys that are awesome technicians is the most challenging part of my job. And I know you have a challenging job, or the job itself is challenging. So, but 10 reasons you should consider being an automotive repair technician. I'm going to jump right to the one that everybody, ultimately we work every day because we want a paycheck, right? Like if we didn't have a paycheck, we may do something totally different with our lives. So as far as making a living goes, being an auto repair technician is a very lucrative place to be, especially if you're really good at it and you're continually growing yourself, and you're driven and you're organized, and you really look at it as a craft and take it seriously. If you do all those things and you do it for a period of time where you gain the amount of experience you can over a course of years, it can be a very lucrative job. I'm interviewing people now that are well into the six figures, and I mean, even in my organization, which is we've got 3 shops in central Indiana, we've got several technicians that are into the six-figure incomes, and I'm really glad to be able to provide that level of opportunity. And in the future is the great thing about the future in auto repair as a technician is those salaries or compensation packages are not going backwards. They're going up and up and up. And it's simply because of supply and demand. There are literally more people or more cars in this country that need to be repaired than there are those that are qualified to repair them. So if you're thinking about becoming an automotive technician, bear that in mind. I don't think we're going to flood this market anytime soon, but we do need you. We do need more people that are willing and able to fix cars, and that's not going to change. Along with that, along with supply and demand and a good paycheck, comes freedom. Freedom in this context is, hey, I've been working at XYZ auto repair facility for a period of time, and now I want to move. I'm in Indiana. I'm in cornfields, flat land. It gets really cold in the winter, really hot in the summer. I want to do something different. I want to move to Colorado. I want to enjoy the mountains. I want to move to Florida and live near the beach. I promise you, somebody in Colorado is hiring technicians. Somebody in Florida is hiring technicians. Somebody in Alaska is hiring technicians. Somebody in New York is hiring technicians. Wherever you want to go, there's a job available. And the better you are, and the more experience you have, the more you're going to make in that place. So definitely keep that in mind. You get a bit of freedom as an automotive technician. Reason number 3 that you should consider being an automotive technician is if you don't like to sit still. If sitting in a cubicle or sitting at a desk drives you nuts, you don't do that as an automotive technician. And I will say the word mechanic from time to time. So if you hear me say mechanic, those two terms in my world are interchangeable. The general public will look at us as mechanics. In the industry, we like to say technician. We do know that people who work on modern cars are highly skilled, and it's not just twisting nuts and bolts anymore. There's a lot of really high-tech skills that you have to have as far as being able to diagnose electrical problems, troubleshoot computer issues, program computers, so on and so forth. Totally different video, but I just wanted to say that in case you hear me say mechanic. But ultimately, if you are an automotive technician, you don't stop moving. You might go to a computer for a little bit to look something up, maybe even to help build a repair order, but more times than not, you're moving around the shop. So is it hard? Does it make it a hard job physically? Sometimes yes. Does it cause some wear and tear on your body? It can, and you do have to take care of your body. But if you like to stay active and you don't necessarily feel like you want to go to the gym, although you maybe still want to go to the gym, do some strength training or something, but you're going to get all of your steps in, you're going to stay active, you're going to stay mobile. It can be good for you depending on how you treat it. Reason number 4 to be an automotive mechanic or technician is there's never a dull day in this industry. It's not the same old, same old. Now maybe, again, I don't have dealership experience, so maybe if you're doing the same warranty work on the same cars day after day after day, it could become monotonous and kind of a grind, but I don't know. The technicians I've talked to that have worked at dealerships, that's not necessarily the feedback that I'm hearing. In the independent world, in the general repair world, so I've got, out of my 3 shops, one of them focuses solely on European cars, and the other 2 are general repair. So we work on anything and everything that basically has wheels and tires and isn't a big truck. There's always something new coming in the door, whether it's a super awesome new car or a car that somebody's highly modified. Sometimes that's really fun, and a lot of times that's really not fun because it does add a layer of complication to repairing the car. Or it's honestly sometimes maybe the most entertaining cars, right or wrong, are the ones that are the most clapped out and or in sad shape. And sometimes it's really a sad story. You know, you have somebody who is depending on a car, and another shop or another a shade tree mechanic or somebody has really either put a lot of new parts on a car that really shouldn't be fixed, or they've, sometimes you find some really interesting hacks to fix a car. And obviously it's our job to put those together right, and or at least let the client know, hey, your car is not safe. Let's talk about what's going to take to fix it. At any rate, there's a variety. There's a variety of things coming through the door. There's a variety of people coming through the door. As a technician, you don't maybe interact with them a whole lot, but you kind of get to know some of your clients and get to know, obviously, the people around you. And that leads me to number 5 reason to be an automotive technician today. And it's simply, you get to be around some awesome people. I've been in this industry now for 18 years in various steps. Really the last 10 to 12 years I've been really active in the automotive industry, in the aftermarket especially. I've created tons and tons of friends that are every position in aftermarket automotive, from technicians to service advisors to managers to other owners. And in my shops, I have 28 people that I work with. And I got to tell you, these are some awesome people. Like really, it's just you, especially if you like cars or you like working on cars or you like even fixing things, you surround yourself, like any industry, with people who have common interests. But automotive people, by and large, it's just a great community. And when you get in the right shop and have the right team, you can really build some synergy. And I love walking into a shop and just people are cutting up and kind of joking with each other and giving each other a hard time in a loving way. And that happens a lot in automotive. We're not, we don't have to always be super buttoned up. We can really cut loose a little bit in the shop and have some fun. So that's my reason number 5. Reason number 6, you should consider being an automotive technician, is really, this one's a big one to me, is you're opening up the ability to help people. And that can be looked at in a whole bunch of different ways. As a business, we're here to obviously charge people money to help them, but we are still helping them. We are providing a great service that is, it is essential. During COVID, we were an essential business that stayed open because we all have to have our cars. Uh, there are, at least in my area, we're not a very walkable community, so we need our cars to get to all the places we need to get to. And as an automotive repair technician or a mechanic, we're the people that make sure people get where they need to go. And I think sometimes we take that for granted because it's, any job you do day after day becomes, kind of like it just, you take for granted how impactful it might be. But this is an impactful job. If you really imagine what the world would be like if there weren't anybody there to fix cars. Yes, there's quite a few people out in the world that can do it themselves, but it's not the majority. And even most do-it-yourselfers have some limitations. So becoming an automotive technician, you get to help people. You also, you have the freedom to help yourself. If once you really learn how to work on a car, you don't have to pay somebody else to work on a car. You might be inclined to work on your friends and family's car. That's up to you. Some people, their nights and weekends are filled with working on their family's cars because they love their family, they love working on cars, and that's just the way it is. Others say, you know what, 5 o'clock, I'm done. You're gonna have to bring it to the shop and just pay the normal rate. Either way is fine, but you do have the ability to help people. You have the ability when you're in a parking lot and somebody's car isn't running to go over and, if nothing else, give them peace of mind because you can assess enough to let them know that, hey, your car's not going to drive home tonight. You're going to have to get a tow truck. Or, if you're really, you got that lucky time and you have a jump box in your car and they've got a dead battery, you can give them a jump. But at least you can be that professional that gives them some confidence in what's going on with their car. Number 7 is this could be controversial, and this is where the offsetting video to this of the 10 worst things about being a mechanic can come into play. But you build one heck of a tool collection. And if you love tools, like I do, like if getting on a tool truck or into a tool store gives you that little dopamine rush, then it can be a really good thing. It can be a really bad thing too, because you can spend way too much money. That's a whole different conversation and a whole different video. But if you love the fact of having this library of tools that gives you freedom to work on what you want to work on, and your job pays you enough that you can make the money you need to make a living and build a tool collection at the same time, to me that's a big advantage. I will say that when people get into this industry young, I don't know that it is a challenge if you're just getting into the industry, or can be. And I would say if you're really truly exploring becoming an auto technician, talk to some people who have been around for a while. Talk to some places that you might want to go work. I know that in my organization, we're pushing to help young people get a base set of tools so that they don't have to go into debt, or and so they can have a job, right? And so they can even earn those tools over a period of time. Ultimately, I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to supplying all the tools to a technician, but I've yet to meet a technician who doesn't want to own their own. Owning your own tools is another layer of freedom. When you have your tools and you want to switch jobs, you pack up your tools and you take them to the next place. Right or wrong, that's kind of how the industry works. But again, if you just kind of geek out on, your toolbox as a mechanic is kind of like your office, and it's also kind of like your signature. You and I and the next guy may do the same job 3 slightly different ways because of 3 slightly different sets of tools. So you do develop it's your craft. So a good toolbox and a good tool selection makes it pleasurable, and some of us enjoy it. And really, a quick side note on whether you're buying like Snap-on or Harbor Freight or whatever brand, cheap, expensive, that's a debate that will last till the end of time. And I know people that can be amazing technicians with cheap tools, and I know other people who will fight until the end to say that you have to have the most expensive tools, and then there's a lot of us in the middle. I wouldn't get too polarized on that. start to figure out what works for you. Don't go into a bunch of debt, and get advice from people who've been in the industry for a long time. Reason number 8 you might want to consider being an automotive technician is upward mobility. I should start by saying you've got to start somewhere, right? Like you can't just start at the a super high pay technician tomorrow if you don't have any experience. So you do kind of have to pay your dues there. And a lot of that is just simply getting on the job experience. That might be coming through tech school, that might be starting as an apprentice, that might be just proving that because of your at home working on cars experience that you're a qualified technician. But there is that period of time that you're on the floor working your way up the ladder. Now, what does that ladder look like? For one, it doesn't have to be a ladder. You can be an automotive technician from now until the end of your career, and you can make a great living. And some people, that's really what they want to do. You know, a lot of us that are automotive technicians are not super people. We just really like working with inanimate objects or machines that don't talk back to us. Well, they kind of talk back to us, but that don't verbally talk back to us and don't have emotions is really a good thing. But then there's others of us who strive for more, or maybe we even want to interact with people more. So as an automotive technician, you gain a lot of experience, of course, about the cars. And then you can, your next step up, you could be a shop foreman. If you want to be a leader and you're such a good technician that you can help other technicians, you can mentor them and you can lead them and you can help them make their way up the ladder. So being a shop foreman, and that means different things in different shops and different dealerships, but it is typically a leadership position, and it's typically a position that is sometimes it's a little less on-car work and a little more technical and or people work. You can also become a service advisor. Now, I wouldn't argue that a service advisor role is I don't know if that's a lateral move. It's not a downgrade. I don't know that it's a giant upgrade. If we're talking about pay, a really awesome service advisor, really awesome technician, both make really good money. We're kind of splitting hairs on the financial piece of that. A service advisor has got to be an awesome people person. It's a sales focused position. But if say you're a mechanic or a technician that's working on cars and you really love talking to customers, man, becoming a service advisor might be something you want to explore. A parts manager. As you work on cars, you learn a whole lot about the parts that go on the cars. And a lot of us have parts departments that need somebody that really understands parts to make sure that we're ordering the right parts. I mean, it's actually a really big responsibility and a really important part of a well-running shop is somebody who helps organize and takes care of the parts department. You can work your way up to be a shop manager or a store manager or a general manager. And in my organization right now, I've got 3 store managers and 1 director of operations. 3 of those individuals have all been professional technicians, successful professional technicians that have also developed and displayed leadership ability. So they now run stores, and their technical ability, while is not absolutely critical, is helpful to them in their jobs. I mean, especially when it comes to explaining things to a client that might be misunderstanding some things. They can explain it in a different way than maybe the service advisor is. So that can be, and they also understand how to work with technicians because they've been one. So they can kind of walk both sides of that. So being a shop manager. And a lot of shop owners are former technicians. Now that's a whole different subject. It'd probably be a great video in and of itself, but a lot of shop owners, a lot of technicians are doing a lot of hard work in their shops, and they're thinking, you know what, I would be better off if I just did this on my own. Hey, I know the shop's charging $150 an hour. I'm only making $40 or $50 an hour. Why don't I go open my own shop and charge $150 and keep it all? And you can do that. it gets really complicated from a business standpoint, and you don't really end up keeping it all. But you definitely can, once you know how a shop works, there's nothing preventing you from going and starting your own shop and running it your way. So that's definitely like the ultimate upward mobility, right? Chasing the American dream of owning your own shop. I would definitely, if you're currently a technician or you think you want to follow that path, I would talk to a lot of shop owners, and I would definitely look for shop owners that are former technicians, because my experience is that some technicians that become shop owners do become entrepreneurs and true business people, and they love it. And other technicians become shop owners and they kind of want to go back to owning a shop, because they found that, like, honestly, like as a shop owner, you don't always make more money than you do as a technician. Sometimes you make a lot less, especially for the first few years. And sometimes it's just a better play to stay as a technician and leverage the fact that you have the supply and demand. Reason number 9 you should consider being an automotive technician is, honestly, it just might be your passion. Working on cars, there's a lot of us in this world who just are attracted to automobiles for whatever reason. It's born into us, it's bred into us. We just eat, sleep, and breathe cars. And if that's how I got here. I was a manager in a cell phone company before I started my own shop. But I had to be around cars. It was just a calling I had. You might have a similar calling. You might be doing a job you don't like at all. I've got a gentleman who works for me who was in the IT industry for a long time before he just had to make a switch. He wanted to move around more. He didn't want to be sitting at a desk, and he liked cars. And he's an incredibly successful, talented technician. So that might be you. And if your passion is cars, and I will say, you do not have to be passionate about cars to be a successful automotive technician. If you're not, you might be passionate about technology. You might be passionate about just fixing things or helping people, or working with your hands. So you don't have to be a car guy or car girl, but it is a great place for a car guy or car girl. But at any rate, you may have a passion to fix things, fix cars, work on things, and being an automotive technician is something that can scratch that itch. And finally, my 10th reason that you should consider being an automotive mechanic is that it is a recession-proof, recession-resistant, recession-proof business. I already said in part number 1 and 2, the freedom and the financial ability to make a great living. That's not going to change tomorrow. The bottom's not going to fall out. I promise you the bottom's not going to fall out. There are so many cars in this country, in this world, that need repaired or maintained, that there's not enough, right now there's not enough people that are qualified to do that. So say the economy, the stock market crashes. That's not going to change the fact that the Smiths have a car that needs an oil change and a brake job. It might change how much they're willing to spend to fix everything on the car, or how often they're going to have the car worked on, how much money they have, instead of being really preventative on how they fix the car and like making it perfect, they may only fix the things that are going to keep it safe. But at the end of the day, we all, like, if we're going to have a job and or see our friends and family, we have to have the car. And regardless of the economic conditions, people are going to have to pay, or going to be willing to pay to have that service. So it is, I would say, recession resistant. Yes, people are going to spend less. More people are going to try to do it themselves. Some of those people are going to get in trouble, and they're going to come look for a professional. So again, reason number 10 is it is a recession, depression resistant job. We're going to need mechanics from now into the future. And again, we can get into like EVs and how they're different and all the technology. And maybe there's going to be less things breaking on EVs, but there's still going to be things breaking on EVs. And some of those are going to be even more complicated and more computer based. So as you do consider whether or not you want to be a technician, an automotive technician, a mechanic, I would lean into the technology side, because that's where the value is. So anyway, that's all I have for this video. Again, I'm going to do another video on the top 10 reasons you should not consider being a technician or maybe even want to get out of the industry. But this is all I have today. I definitely appreciate you watching. We'll see you next time.